All right, let's go to Tennessee Titans.
Everything's fine.
Where are they?
Titans
start.
Not like the meme either, where everything's on fire.
Peter Skoronski, pick 1. All right, round 1, pick 11. So they go Skoronski in the first, and then they trade up to get QB Will Levis out of Kentucky with the 33rd pick. Round 2, they get Tyjae Spears, one of our favorites, the running back out of Tulane in round 3. Again, I think running back value, once you start taking him in the 80s, 90s, you're starting to get into a good spot there. Josh Wiley, big tight end out of Cincinnati in round 5. Jalen Duncan, developmental tackle out of Maryland in round 6. Now that's a better spot for Duncan, who at one point was rumored to go close to the first. 6th round was actually a better spot for him. Colton Dowell, athletic wide receiver out of Tennessee. Martin, what did you think of this Titans draft, Sam?
I liked it. I've kind of lost some of the trade, the exact terms for a lot of these trades. What do they give up to go to get Will Levis?
You think I have them?
Yeah.
Right offhand? I don't have the trades. I do need a list of the trades. I have not been
over the course of the first 2 days, like some of the nitty-gritty details of the trades have just kind of evaded me, they didn't give it that much. Anyway.
Well, a lot of times I get the first response to, like the first first trade terms that later get updated.
The important part here is they gave up first round next year. Oh yeah. So the Titans were a team that was being talked about in the lead up to the draft as they were going to go aggressively and go get a quarterback. They were going to trade up to number 3. They were going to go get the guy, and they didn't. They sat there at 11. They drafted Peter Skoronski, who I think I've settled on the best way of describing him as he's the best offensive lineman available in this draft. The only question is, what position does he play at the next level? For Tennessee, I think that matters less than for other teams because he could upgrade either spot. If he plays tackle, great. Nicholas Petit-Frere has not done anything to, deserve keeping that job long term unless he improves significantly. And if he plays guard, fine. You have a needed guard as well. So for Tennessee, it doesn't matter as much, even if obviously it affects the value of where you should draft him in the NFL, in the first round. But number 11 is fine. Like, even if he is a guard only. 11 is good. They drafted the best offensive lineman in the NFL after offensive lineman had already been taken. That's a really good pick for them. I think that's great. They didn't reach on a quarterback. They didn't chase one. They didn't grab the 4th guy on the board at number 11. They stayed disciplined, I guess. And the benefit of that is they were able to be the team that stopped the slide of Will Levis and grab him in the 2nd round. And we got the compensation here.
Will Levis goes pick 33, so the 2nd pick of the 2nd round.
Yeah, so this was the one where I think I ran this into the calculator at the time, and it actually said that Tennessee won the trade. Like, in addition,
was this with Minnesota?
No, with Arizona.
With Arizona,
so it cost them 33 it cost them 41 and number 81 to get to 33, and they also got 72. Or no, okay.
Something was missing here because with the first time you got the terms, it was like they moved up.
No, it still doesn't make sense. So they moved up from 41 to 33, and it cost them number 72 to do that, but they also got 81 back, which if you run it through the calculator actually says they won that deal.
Well, yeah, because if they moved up 8 or 9 spots in round 2 and then moved down 8 or 9 spots in round 3, that doesn't make sense for anything. So, there's something missing there.
Theoretically,
there's something missing in that trade.
I mean, that's Eli in the booth there said he's taking it from the Athletic. So if it's wrong, it's them goofing, not us.
I've seen it reported. Yeah, I mean, I've seen it reported like that. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
I think that's why I've jettisoned it from my brain, because the point being, it basically didn't cost them anything to move up to get Will Levis in the 2nd round. Like, it's not like they sacrificed anything down the line to make that happen. In fact, if you run that through a calculator, it says they benefited from trading up to get Will Levis.
Poor Will was left in the green room. Can we just stop with the green room stuff? Like, the Rodgers thing ended up becoming...
4 guys. 4 guys were left in there.
Not like, I mean, invite the guys to the green room and all that stuff. But if they don't get picked, it's a non-story unless the networks make it into one. Yeah. It's a non-story. Yeah. Fringe first round, a first round player. Yeah, yes. We thought Levis.
You can't say fringe first round player.
Levis was thought to go top 10, maybe even top 5. I get it. I'm saying you turn this into a much bigger story when you're just staring at him the whole time, keeping it on him. Like, oh, what's his girlfriend doing? What's his mom doing? What's his facial expression? How big is his back now after all of his lifting and whatever else he's doing? I mean, just
Okay,
Don't make it into a massive story.
That's the part that makes it make sense. They also gave up a third rounder in 2024.
There you go.
So that's how they lose the trade, not win it. Although it's still fine. Like,
yeah, trade up for a quarterback. It's worth it.
Essentially, it's cost them a third round pick next year to get Will Levis this year.
This felt more like the Geno Smith slide to me. He's supposed to go in the first. At the end of the day, it was probably fine that he went in the second. Like, if we were being honest, I mean, I would be okay with Levis. I mean, I would take him in the first. I would take the shot in the first because I take shots on quarterbacks. But like him going at 33, I think ends up being okay.
I mean, look, I think it's great for Tennessee. I think it's great for Will Levis. I think that's a perfect landing spot for him where he can go there, be their quarterback of the future. There's a pathway to playing time for him when they move on from Ryan Tannehill, and he doesn't come in with the immediate expectations of this guy's a superstar, he's got to play right away, and if he's not good right away, you've got trouble. So I think it's a great spot for either side. The one point I think is worth making, that I don't think Will Levis going number 33 is necessarily an indication that the entire NFL viewed this as Will Levis is way worse than the other three. The Indianapolis Colts were saying that Will Levis was like the backup option. He was the next guy for them after Anthony Richardson. And I think ultimately he just wound up being the guy without a chair when the music stopped. Like, once the first two guys are gone, 1-2, and then Richardson goes to the Colts, now we've run out of teams that really want that quarterback at the top of the draft. Yeah. Or the teams that were left simply didn't like Levis. It doesn't, I think, necessarily mean that the entire league viewed him as being this next tier down from everybody else. I think he just basically ended up being the unlucky guy where the draft unfolded in a way that screwed him effectively.
Yeah, I mean, just supply and demand, man. Because we talked a lot about the Raiders. Because we think differently, we were like, oh, the Raiders, of course they're in the quarterback market. Right. And that's not even I mean, they were. But I think they were for like one or two guys.
Yeah.
If they tried to trade up to one, they would have taken Bryce Young. But they're like, oh, no, we're good.
Which we've been saying all along, right? The NFL is not going to treat this as a monolith. It's not everybody looking at this going, there's the big four quarterbacks and we got to get one. Teams are going to be looking at this and saying this is a one quarterback strong class. It's a two quarterback strong class. And they're going to be thinking about different quarterbacks. The Colts, apparently their 1-2 was Richardson Levis because they were looking at who's got the highest ceiling, who can be, who's the swing for the fences guy. And then other teams, it's like it's Bryce Young and then I'm out. So I don't think that his slide necessarily reflects this idea that Will Levis is seen as this, secondary prospect relative to the other two. But once he did slide, I think going to Tennessee is the best situation that he could have landed in because he gets past that point where he's, a guaranteed day one starter, but he ends up with a pathway through to playing time if he shows that he is a quarterback that can be successful. And the offense that Tennessee has been running is exactly the one you would want to put him in terms of maximizing what he does well.
So what do you think this means here? And again, they took Malik Willis in was it the third last year? Third round, right? Great. It's still not a wasted pick. Took a shot at Malik Willis. Probably didn't work out. Maybe you trade him for a fifth or a sixth or whatever, and then you just move on. But you keep taking shots at quarterback. I think Ryan Tannehill is probably still the starter this year. Of all the situations, like Will Levis is the Titans' backup, and then I think Tannehill's got 1 year left on his deal, and Levis takes over in 24.
I think
see what he has.
I think it was Mike Vrabel who said they're going to start off. Ryan Tannehill's the starter. Malik Willis is the backup. Will Levis is QB3. And he's told the quarterbacks that what happens from that point on is down to them. So essentially, that's the starting order. This is how you were ordered as of now.
This is every coach, right?
And if you want to move up and down the list, show us.
As I was listening to all the press conferences, it's like, what'd you like about this guy? Well, I love about this, and I love his length, and I love these other things. And then they'd always be like, well, but of course, like any other prospect, he's got to come in and earn it, We don't just hand jobs out here in this organization. We don't. You got to earn it. You got to come in and earn it. What?
Nothing.
This was every press conference.
I am aware of that.
What's so funny?
Nothing.
What did I say?
You said a funny sequence of words together that just, if you
I don't even know what I said.
Childish disposition like me,
I will not.
Funny.
Oh, jeez. We don't give jobs away.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
We don't give jobs away.
Don't do it.
We get back to the Titans draft here. Skoronski's good. Will Levis was worth a shot. And Tajay Spears is one of the better running backs in this class.
Love Tajay.
Gets to give Derrick Henry a little break.
Absolutely love that guy. I think he's got insane talent. Just really makes everything look smooth and easy. I think he could be really successful in the NFL. And then, a guy like Jalen Duncan, 6th round is where you take a developmental tackle that's got athleticism and doesn't play well right now. Perfect,
Perfect. Keep an eye on Josh Wiley, the Cincinnati tight end. Did the model end up liking him? We liked him at one point. Yeah. It's a good pick. Good pick in the 5th.
Perfect.
Titans draft overall, we give it an A.
Yeah, I really like it. I mean, I think, look, not reaching on a quarterback in round 1 is important. Coming back, grabbing Will Levis, still getting a guy if they'd taken Will Levis at number 11, nobody would have criticized that. It would have been seen as a good pick. They got a quarterback. They grabbed him, and they didn't go up to number 3. They would have been getting praised for not jumping to 3 to draft a quarterback and sticking at number 11 and taking one instead. They end up getting Peter Skoronski, the best offensive lineman in the draft, and still getting their quarterback in the 2nd round. That's great process for Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean that's the people that were saying, well, the Texans trade was for Stroud. You would say, well, the Titans held on to most of their picks, still got a quarterback, and the 11th overall player. They did that the right way. Mm-hmm. And this is all knowing that, forget what the results end up being for C.J. Stroud, for Will Levis and all that stuff. It's just take the lottery ticket on a quarterback, just in case.